Hello again, everybody. I'm Snapper Lancaster. Welcome you to another edition of the Central Alabama High School Sports Show. Well, folks, this is our last show for the spring quarter, and we do something a little bit different. To start off the program, I'm going to recognize the championship teams we've had from the Birmingham-Jefferson County area. And as we talked about the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season, talking about the shows leading up to the championship rounds and everything, that there's always a lot of teams here in the Birmingham area vying for championships. Well, this year in the spring portion, we won 10 championships, and we'll talk about those in just a second. As a matter of fact, one of the championship teams will be our guest tonight, but in order to see who they are, you're going to have to stick around. And then we got a couple of special guests toward the end. I've got a couple of my grandsons that played high school sports here in the Birmingham area, and we'll be visiting with them in a little while. And then once again, this being our last program, we'll be back toward the end of August, and we'll be starting up the fall session of our program. So we look forward to doing that. But as we talked about leading up to this show, all the chances that the Birmingham community would have in winning championships, and we had quite a few of them end up second, but we had 10 win those championships, and I want you to know who they are. First of all, in tennis, girls, Mountain Brook coach Susan Farlow and the Lady Spartans won the 7A championship in girls tennis. Where in boys tennis, it was Briarwood Christian, Jeremy Mears and his team won the 5A championship in boys tennis. Now in outdoor track, and of course we've got some outstanding track coaches here in the Birmingham-Jefferson County area. In Class 6A outdoor track girls, Homewood, Tom Eslinger and his squad won the 6A title. In 7A, of course, this doesn't surprise anybody either. Devin Hine of Hoover, they win another championship for the girls' side of it. On the boys' side, just switch coaches' names, but the teams are the same. Homewood won the 6A track for the boys, and for Hoover, it was the boys again in 7A. And then you go into soccer. We had two championship teams from the Birmingham area. John Carroll Catholic, Robert Crawford, and Vestavia Hills with Bridget Littleton. They've had an outstanding program there in Vestavia for many years. And that was the girls. Now the soccer, there was only one boys team from the Birmingham area. That was Sean McBake and the Homewood Patriots winning that. And then finally in golf, the boys won in 7A, and that was Beanie Eves. And so once again, an outstanding job by Coach Eves. And finally, the softball championship, we didn't get a baseball winner. We came in close, finished second in baseball, but Auburn won in 7A baseball. But in softball, Springville and Coach Brandon Easterwood and his team won not their first, not their second, not their third, their fourth championship in a row. Folks, that's pretty impressive. That's high cotton. I don't care what kind of field you're working in. So once again, congratulations to all these teams and to the coaches. And that's what these athletes and these coaches play for, that chance to be a state champion. And we're going to recognize one and talk with him and some of his players in just a few moments. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, our first guest. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. No, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors, a company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their #1 objective.
Take your taste to a different place. you know that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin. Bring your friends and come on in. Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven.
And folks, welcome back. And as you can see, I'm joined in this segment by our first guest of the afternoon. As we are doing our show, as you can tell, in the afternoon today. And we talked about earlier a team winning their 4th title in a row. Well, of course, it happens to be the Springville Tigers. And we got Coach Brandon Easterwood, the head softball coach there. So first of all, Coach, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's mighty impressive what you and y'all athletes there at Springville are doing. Coach, before we get into talking about this year's team and the success that y'all have had winning the state championship, tell us a little bit, for people that might be seeing you the first time, tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up there at Springville.
This is my 11th year teaching and coaching. I coached at St. Clair County for 8 years before coming over to Springville. Coached with Chris Williams 1 year. He spent 18 years at Springville and then went on home, and then this is my 2nd year as the head coach at Springville High School.
And so he had a couple of those championships. You got the other 2.
Yes, sir.
And hoping to build on that.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Well, now, one thing I ask coaches a lot of times too, because this surprises people. Did you always want to be a coach? Because very seldom, and the reason I ask that question, very seldom do these high school coaches, was that what they thought they were going to end up doing, but somewhere down the road their career headed them in that direction. So which way has it been for you?
For me, definitely a shift from baseball to softball when I came to Springville. And just adjusting to the game and adapting to the game has been a challenge, but at the same time it's been fresh and new and a good change of pace.
So baseball and softball.
Yes, sir.
Now the reason that I will ask you this question is a lot of the times I compare it with basketball, and I don't know how it compares to softball and baseball, so you'll be able to answer that. But I know when we talk about softball and basketball and talk about girls basketball, it seems like that they have the basics down more so than the guys. And the guys look to be the highlight reel type athletes, but the basic ABCs of their sport, the girls seem to gravitate to that more, if that makes any sense to you.
Yes, sir.
What was the biggest difference, adjustment for you to make from that baseball to softball?
Well, just the speed of the game. Softball's a lot quicker game. The game progresses quickly. And then also just adapting to the girls and the trust that they have in you and the respect that they show for you and the way that they work hard on a daily basis. That's probably been the biggest adjustment.
How much pressure was it, if any, was it for you to take over the program, 2-time state champions, and then knowing that a lot's expected out of you? When I've been in sports a long, long time, and you have too, I understand that sometimes there are realistic expectations and other times not so realistic. You realize that you have a job ahead of you because talent is not always equal. But what kind of challenge was that for you coming in knowing that you probably felt pretty good maybe, and I don't know this, that you might have had a lot of returning players, which is always a help, but there's still that pressure. Hey, I'm stepping into a position, 2-time state champs. They're going to expect me to produce something. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge. The parents, getting the parents and the players to buy in to new verbiage and a new person, and just trusting that I could do the job, like the person before me. But I think at the same time that they knew that I was capable and that I would keep on the right track. Just getting them motivated to do it again. I mean, the talent was there, that's for sure.
One last thing about the boy and girls, male and female athlete. Who, in your opinion, who's the most coachable?
The female athlete.
Really?
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Okay, well, I've heard that from other coaches, and I just wanted to know how that was for you. Now, how much extra pressure did you put on yourself, knowing that you had big shoes to fill, but filling them and knowing that you've got a good chance, it's not the same as going and doing it, because it's a process.
Right.
And so that first year, it had to be a challenge, but yet one that evidently you were ready to undertake.
Yeah, naturally, you're going to put pressure on yourself when it's expected to do it again. I just try to reiterate the fact that nothing's given to us and that we've got to earn everything. And you know, the target on our back's been bigger each year. So getting the girls to buy into the fact that it's not going to be given to us, I think that kind of helped, you know, keep the pressure off a little bit.
Well, now I know each coach is different, and once you take over that coaching job, it's your job to make the schedule. What is your philosophy? Do you try to put teams that you'd have a hard time beating, teams you know that's going to be a challenge, you know you're going to have to play your area teams regardless, and then teams that you feel like, hey, I want to put a couple of games in there that we should win. If we lose them, it's our fault. But how do you go about, and I know a lot of it has about availability that people have open and all, but what's the course that you choose when you're lining up your schedule?
Record means nothing to me. I try to play anybody that we can, play the best teams we can to prepare for the end of the year. You know, teach the girls that, you know, we got to be good at a certain moment in time. You got to be good at the end of the season. And I think playing a tough schedule prepares you to play those games at the end of the year. So we play lots of 7A, 6A, 5A teams and hope that prepares us for the end of the year.
Well, now what, and I don't remember this, I've seen it, but I forgot, I didn't write it down. What was y'all's final record?
48-8-1.
Well, now when you have a 48-8-1 record, you know, a lot of times you look for peaks and valleys. It don't seem like y'all had many valleys, that you played at a high level most of the year. Was that the way it was for this team?
It was. I can point to a couple of losses that I think motivated us at certain points of the year that kind of woke us up and let us know that, you know, that we had to play consistently each day. But yeah, there was definitely probably a couple of losses early in the year. Had an area, lost a corner, where we lost 7-0. Also had a loss in the beach tournament to Sparkman. Both of those teams really good teams, but at the same time, just kind of letting us know that we're beatable and that we got to come to play every day.
Well, and having said that, what was the strong suit of this year's team? You know, you got your pitching, your offense, and your defense.
The strong suit was definitely our seniors. I graduated 6 seniors this year that provided great experience and leadership, and they've been there. Having a good pitcher in the circle definitely helps, and I preach pitching and defense all year. I feel like that when, you know, your bats are going to come and go, but when your bats are not there, your pitching and defense can always be there.
Well, you know, that's and it's that way in a lot of sports. You keep the games close, and then pitching and defense can do that for you. Then you know you've got a chance to win them all. You may not win them all, but you're right there knocking on the door. And it sounds like that you didn't lose. Did you lose much seniorship this year, or what does it look like next year?
Well, I got a lot of good returning players. Every girl that was recognized on the state tournament team was an underclassman. And you know, you got your pitcher and catcher back. That means a lot too.
Well, I tell you what, Coach. I mean, 4 in a row, and look, coming up this upcoming season, you got to feel good about where you are to start with. But then you got to go through that process again. And I know you look forward to that challenge. But it's hard to beat perfection. But so far, the program's outstanding. 4 in a row. And it probably looks like you may be in a pretty good position, I'll put it this way, to challenge for that 5th one.
We'll try our best.
Well, Coach, awfully good to see you. Congratulations on what an outstanding program y'all have got going. And you never can tell. Maybe this time next year we might be sitting here doing the same thing again.
Maybe so.
Folks, we'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to visit a couple of athletes that were so instrumental in their championship run again this year. We'll be right back. The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors. A company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their #1 objective.
At Andrews Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine, orthopedic injuries, We have specialists in sports medicine, shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Andrews Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, post-operative decisions, pre-operative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them, we're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing and as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Andrews Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. No, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
Folks, as you can tell, I got two outstanding young athletes, championship athletes visiting with me, and we've got Abby Sweeney, right?
Yes, sir.
And junior pitcher and the MVP of the tournament.
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's impressive too. Heather Levin, a senior and the right fielder, correct? Well, now girls, y'all been around the program a while, right? Perfection. Y'all are making a different meaning of that word. Going into this season, Abby, of course, you've been a member of championship teams. What do you think y'all's opportunity was or chance was this year?
This past year, I felt like we had a pretty good chance. We had worked pretty hard all year so that we could get back to the state tournament, and I felt like we had a pretty good chance to win it again.
Well, and I talked about peaks and valleys just a moment with the coach. A lot of times you have times when your seasons are up or down, but y'all pretty much stayed on an even keel all the whole season. Did that surprise you at all?
Not really, just because of how hard we work at practice and how much we prepare for each game, like just studying each team that we're going to play. I felt like we had a pretty even shot at each game we played this season.
And Heather, how much pressure do you put on yourself, or did you and your teammates feel a whole bunch of pressure coming off of 3 championships? Were you a member of all 3 of those before this year?
I was just a member of last year's and this year's.
Okay,
it's a whole lot of pressure.
y'all repeated them for you, right? So how much pressure did you put on yourself? Did you think this team going into the season had a chance to be as good as the team last year?
I think we had a good chance of being as good as we did last year, but there was a lot of pressure.
Really?
Yes, because last year, I mean, I was a part of the team, but I wasn't one of the seniors out there making it happen. I was just a runner. But this year, it was just a lot of pressure being out there.
Yeah, well, and you know, being a senior from the leadership position, you know, a coach leans on his players sometimes, and y'all don't realize it, especially the seniors. There's such thing on a team as chemistry. If the team chemistry is good, sometimes we can do things we didn't think we could do, right? Mm-hmm. But if the chemistry is bad, the better the chemistry, the better you are as an individual and the better you are as a team, correct? But if you don't get along, and I've used this little term, you ladies respectfully will understand what I'm saying, y'all could have little cat fights. You know, you little girls are put together a little bit different. And the unity's not there. And if the unity is not there, or chemistry, then, you know, you can't be the best you can be as an individual or as a team. So from that standpoint, Heather, it seems like to me this team was in a good place.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, now, when you looked at that schedule and winning 3 in a row, talking about the team itself, winning 3 in a row, there's pressure that comes along with that. The more you win, the more you're expected to win. Now, having said that, next year y'all could come out like a ball of fire, or injuries, or just maybe not playing as well as a team. You may not win again. So it's a challenge to play at that level. And Abby, this would be more aimed at you next year. And I'm sure you were a leader on the team this year as well, but next year you will really be expected to do that. What kind of challenge is that as you look ahead, knowing that you're going to be a senior and that a lot is going to be expected out of y'all as a team and you as an individual? Do you relish being in that position where you hopefully can be a positive influence for you and your teammates?
Yes, sir. I definitely want to be a positive influence. Like back to what you said about team chemistry, definitely want to focus on that, because without that, there's no really winning during the season or anything like that.
Well, now, how many years have you been playing there?
I've been playing on varsity since my 7th grade year, so this will be my 6th year.
Okay, so this would be a good question to ask that you would understand. What was the difference in from Coach Williams to Coach Underwood? You know, they're both outstanding coaches, but they're different. They're different individuals. What was that transition like for you and your teammates?
Well, it was just kind of different because we had been used to Coach Williams and kind of used to the more laid-back practices and like just kind of going with the flow. And then Coach Easterwood comes in, it's a lot more running, a lot more like pushing us to be the best that we could be. Not that Coach Williams didn't push us to be the best that we could be, but I just feel like the practices are a lot more intense with him being the coach.
Okay. Well, now let's get away from the success of the field. We know two things about you. One, you're awfully good athletes. Two, you're awfully good students. You work hard in the classroom or we don't make it to the softball diamond, right? Now, having said that, there's got to be something you do to take the pressure off, to unwind from all that pressure, the classroom pressure on the softball field. What is that for you, Abby, that puts you in a good zone where you're able to handle all these expectations?
Honestly, I really don't do much other than softball in school, I'm not going to lie. So, because I go straight from school ball into travel ball, which is what I'm doing right now. And it's just like all year kind of thing. And I play volleyball in the fall, so it's like just a constant. But volleyball is like kind of a reliever. It's like a lot less stressful, so.
So you're definitely almost an athlete year-round,
yes, sir.
Right? Okay. Well, how about you, Heather?
Basically the same thing. I played softball, volleyball, and basketball, so
wow. I
don't really get any off time, but in my off time I usually play Fortnite. It helps relax me.
Well, let me tell you this, girls. I know that young female athletes are like male athletes too. Some of us are very superstitious. Feel like we have to do something a certain way or we're not going to have as good a luck or as good a game or whatever. With that thought in mind, what kind of superstitions might you have, Abby? We'll start with you.
I kind of go through the same warm-up before each game. Like I throw a certain amount of pitches of each pitch, and then I'll go through all of them one more time before I like go out on the field. So I think that's really the only thing that I can think of.
But it's a little repetitious thing that you do. How about you, Heather?
I don't really have any superstitious things I do. I just get out there and goof off before the game usually.
Really? So you want to be loosey-goosey?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, are there any hobbies that you girls have other than sports? I mean, you got to do something else. You like to go to movies or hang out with buddies, or is there anything in particular that you do?
Hang out with friends, I guess, in the little time that we do have.
Well, you know, the one thing that's always shocked me, because I've always thought, when I think of what you girls might do, I know y'all aren't shopaholics.
No, sir.
You girls are famous for being great shoppers, you know. Well, that's terrific. So y'all's young lives have been made up of athletics, and you being a senior, Heather, do you ever think, where do you hope to go to school?
Well, the Montevallo coach was looking at me, so I was really interested in that, but I'm just going to Gadsden State to get my basics out of the way for school. So
what do you hope to do maybe one day?
Be a veterinarian.
Really? That's terrific. Well, I tell you what, girls, very last question I've got to ask. To this point in your young lives, and we'll start with you, Abby, who's been the most inspirational person or persons?
I have a few, definitely my mom, and then a few of the coaches at Springville, Coach Easterwood being one of them, and then the volleyball and basketball coach, Coach House. They just always push us to be the best that we possibly can. So.
Okay, and how about you, Heather?
I'd say my parents are the most special to me because they're always pushing me, and they're like, Heather, if you're hurt, get up, shake it off, you're fine. Like, just go out there and play the best you can.
Well, I tell you what, Heather, I know you're off to school, right? And college next year, so good luck to you. And Abby, I guess you're going to be a part of the group that will try to 5-peat.
Yes, sir.
Now that is rarefied air, okay? So good luck to y'all. And
Thank
good
you.
luck
Thank you.
congratulations on another outstanding championship season.
Thank you.
And folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be visiting with a couple of young athletes and find out about their lives in the sports world. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
And this will be your premium right here.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say, I combined home and auto with State Farm.
Saved $760.
Love this guy.
Okay, does it bother anybody else that the mime is talking? Freaky.
Bundle home and auto, and you could save $760.
That's 760 very good reasons to call Alan Gurdeau in Trussville today.
And folks, welcome back. As you can see, I got two outstanding young athletes sitting beside me. And the thing that makes these guys unique, and it's a show that I've been talking about having for a while, is these are both my grandsons. And I've got a couple of granddaughters that hopefully we'll have on this fall. And all of them compete in high school athletics, and I think that's pretty neat. It's pretty neat for a granddad to have that many grandchildren that are participating in sports, very active in high school athletics. Sitting closest to me is the senior, the one that's going to graduate this year, Stephen Lancaster. And Stephen went to Gardendale High School. And then we've got Preston Jones, and Preston went to Hewitt-Trussville High School. So guys, as we get this started a little bit, we're going to find out a little more about you. Like I know primarily in high school, Stephen, you have played soccer and football.
Yes, sir.
But I know you, as you were younger growing up, you played in more sports. So I think you said basketball and baseball as well.
Yes, sir.
And so how, through the years, and because you've been involved in sports, how did football become the #1 sport for you, and soccer? And I understand why you do that, but I know you love it, but it's, I'll call 1A.
Right.
You know, so how did, from going to an outstanding little baseball player and playing a little basketball earlier, did you get to where you chose those two?
As a kid, I've always loved soccer and football, but I really didn't go into soccer because as a kid, Dad would make some jokes about, soccer's for girls. That's always his big jokes. I just thought, don't play soccer. So I was football, baseball, and played basketball when I got to middle school. But football I've always loved since I was a kid. Just the competitiveness, you have to go out there every day, work hard. The games, there's nothing like it to me. Running through a tunnel, whether you're in Little League or in high school, there's nothing like it to me. So that's why I've always loved it, and just the bonds you make on the football field can last forever, and all the friends I've made.
Well, I know the one thing now, I didn't play football. I played basketball and baseball in high school, but your dad, my son, played, his main sport was football, and he was pretty good at it at Fulton Dale. And so, having said that, how much pressure did Dad, or did he ever put pressure on you to play football over other sports?
He really never put pressure on me. Now, I always knew that I was kind of where he wanted to guide me to, but he never put pressure on Stephen, you have to do this, that. He just always kept pushing me to be the best I could be in the sports, whatever sport I chose. So he really never put any pressure on me, and just always work hard.
Right. Well, I tell you what, you've ended up, as a matter of fact, next year we'll go to Birmingham Southern.
Yes, sir.
To play football, and so we wish you all the luck in the world there. But and going back to your soccer, because I know I've talked a little bit about it with you, that not only did you like it, but you used it as a tool to help make your football a better sport, right?
Yes, sir, I have.
And because I didn't realize, and I will say that I'll share this little caveat with our viewers. Your sister, my granddaughter, as well as Preston, has a sister that participates in varsity sports, but she plays soccer and you and she were the most MVPs for y'all's soccer team this year.
Yes, sir.
Now, that's pretty good. Now, I knew you was a pretty good soccer player, but I didn't know that you meant that much to the team, and I know a lot of that has to do with leadership ability and stuff like that too, so that was great. Now, and then Preston Jones. Preston plays at Hewitt-Trussville. He's played varsity baseball, played for a championship, got the red trophy, right? And so, but Preston, tell me a little bit about your background, because I know you play more sports. You played football at Hewitt younger, and you played a little basketball, but you played a lot of basketball in church leagues and stuff like that, because I've seen you play, and you're very good at that sport. So how did you end up making a choice which ones you wanted to play in the high school?
Yes, sir. Well, I grew up playing all three just because I love being active and playing sports. And then after 7th grade year, I kind of just faded out on football, kind of got tired of it a little bit. I knew that basketball and baseball was what I wanted to keep playing, just further my abilities in. And then I had knee surgery after sophomore year of basketball. And so I had to pretty much stop playing basketball and just focus on my baseball career. And that's when I really got serious about baseball and just wanted to keep growing in it and learn more about it. But I still play church basketball and stuff to stay active and stuff and stay in condition. Because
I have seen you play the basketball, and boy, I can tell you got some ability there, and you really enjoy it. And it's another one of those sports that helps you stay in condition.
Yes, sir.
For the baseball as much as the basketball and everything. So, what are the biggest lessons, I guess, and Stephen, we'll start with you. How did it mold you as a person competing in athletics? How important has that been to you?
It's been big and probably one of the most important things in my life, because it's taught me a lot of life lessons. You can get knocked down, you can have injuries that come up that you never knew would happen. There's different situations in any sport you play that, you can be down by 20 and come back. You never know. You got to always learn to, when you get knocked down, you can always get back up. Don't stay down. That's what it's taught me.
Yeah, and Preston, I know, the life lessons you learn sometimes, you grow in ways that you never thought you would. So how invaluable has your sports career thus far been to you?
It's been unbelievable. I mean, it's just helped me grow as a person and who I am, and it's helped me find what beliefs I have and how to grow in those. And it's just helped me grow stronger in my beliefs and just learn what it means and how to apply it to my life.
Yeah, well, I know there are situations that you can grow from. We can all have negative experiences in our life and through our sports, and how we handle those situations, you grow. But getting away from the seriousness of your sporting careers thus far, talk about, I know I like to talk with the athletes about some of their superstitions and that kind of thing, and the regiments they feel like they have to go through, or they're not going to be successful that night, whatever sport they're competing in. With that thought in mind, Stephen, what kind of superstitions have you got?
I really don't have any superstition, I guess. I'd say maybe just listen to music and headphones. I like to have headphones every game. I guess that may be it, but other than that, nothing really. I think Dad always said, you look good, you feel good, you play good. So as long as I think I look good, I'm ready to go.
Well, and a lot of that is mental. Mm-hmm. And mentally, if you feel it, then you can carry over to the physical activity of it, right?
Yes, sir.
How about you, Preston?
I just go out there that day and just find whatever makes me feel comfortable. So I don't have any superstitions. It's just whatever makes me feel comfortable and clear my mind and get ready to play that day is what I do.
Yeah, and athletes are completely different. You'll never find two that feel the same way about everything, and you learn different lessons from them. We'll talk more about your personal life a little bit in the next segment, and maybe go on that side of it and see what has been going on with you guys. Folks, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our visit. Don't you go away.
Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven. A taste of heaven is always best. Now you know that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. No, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors, a company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their #1 objective. And folks, welcome back. As it's like I mentioned before, visiting with a couple of my grandsons here, and I'm awfully proud of both of them, and talked a little bit about their sports. And so what we'll talk about now is for Stephen in particular. It's off to college life next year at Birmingham Southern. And Stephen, I know every athlete hopes to play at the next level. And then when you get to college, you have to play at the next level after that. But as we all know, sometimes that works out. Sometimes we get to a point where we're the best that we can be, but it's just good enough not to be good enough. Now, I say that for a reason. The reason being, we always have to have an option in our career. And athletes are no different, because sometimes an athlete will progress from one section to the next and end up, if they're lucky, can follow their dream and have the ability to do it, to be a professional down the road. But putting that aside and realizing there's that other side to it, what do you think, or do you have any idea which direction you might like to go one day in your life if athletics is not the answer at the end of your journey?
I'd like to be a physical therapist or teacher and a coach. Those are the two options right now that I think that would most benefit me and what I love to do. So those are the two options right now that I'm looking towards for if I can't make it any farther in football. Those are the two I'd like to progress and try to go in that route.
And so that, I'm not going to say that surprises me, but it sounds like that maybe one day down the road, if things don't work out exactly the way you'd like for them to, that being a coach might be an option one day.
Yes, sir.
And so the reason I say, Stephen, I don't have many coaches tell me that, because most of them tell me they had no idea they'd end up being coach, but whatever the situation that turned their life in a different direction, they become some of the best coaches in the business, so you never know. But that's nice to know that it don't surprise me on one hand, considering how much you love athletics, that there's always that option out there. Now I know, Preston, you'll be a senior next year, so you're not quite at a point where you have to think about that yet, although it wouldn't surprise me. You got to be realistic with your thought about athletics. If it takes you where you want to go, that makes you a winner. But if it doesn't and your road takes a different turn, do you have any idea, say that you had an A, being a professional athlete down the road being an A, what would the B solution in your life be? What do you think you might, what direction you may go in later on?
I was hoping to probably go to college and major in business management and just like learning how to manage a business and just all the different aspects of that. And probably in the future, like coach, if that's where God leads me to go.
Well, answer this question for me. And you've played different sports, but we'll talk about baseball first, because I think that's the one you're hewing in on, as being, you want to be the best you can be at it right now. What is it you enjoy most about baseball? What is it that you enjoy least?
The thing I enjoy the most is probably the atmosphere that it just brings and has with it, and all the like the different players you get to meet, and just how their lives are and what they live like. It's all the cultures they grew up in and stuff like that. It's probably one of the big things I like about it. And there's nothing that I don't like about it. I pretty much love the whole thing.
Okay, and along those same lines, Stephen, what is it you like about, and I think in your case, and I could be wrong, but football is #1.
Yes, sir.
What is it you love most about it? What is it you dislike the most?
I love I'd say the competition part, the one-on-ones, because I know everybody says there's a team, which you are a team, 11 on the field, but I like the one-on-one battles. That's what probably gives me the most hype, that if everybody does their job on that play, your one-on-one battle, you have successful plays. Like Preston said, there's not really anything I don't like about football. I love everything about it, the competition level, the friends, the guys you meet, everybody you get to meet from playing the sport, just everything about it.
How much pressure, if that's the right term to use, or how much did Dad push you to get into football?
Yeah, I mean, he did. As a kid, like when we were probably 3 years old, we started going to the holes 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7 when I was like 3 years old. So it was kind of like as a kid, he's like just putting that on the top, that Steve, this is what we're going to work for. And I just, as a kid, I was like, all right, let's do it. And that's what I went with.
Now, Preston, you're in a little bit of a different situation. So you might, this might be a more obvious answer than for anybody else. Your dad got to play some baseball in professionals.
Yes, sir.
And some professional athletes. So what is that like for you? How much pressure does that put on you? Because it's just natural. I mean, it just comes with the territory. How much pressure does that put on you to want to be as good as your dad was?
It honestly doesn't put that much pressure on me, because like when I first started playing baseball, he just sat me down and had a conversation and said, honestly, I don't care if you play baseball or if you don't. It's just whatever you want to do with your life. But if you want to do it, I'm here to work with you. If you want to, just let me know. So it kind of just took all the stress off me and just let me go play.
Well, I tell you what, now I know how athletic you guys are and how much you want to be involved athletic-wise, but to get away from athletics, Preston, what is it that you like to do just to go out and have fun with your friends? What is that you want to do?
We usually go out and just go to the movies or play pickup basketball or disc golf or something like that. Just something to stay active and just have fun.
Yeah, and there's no pressure in it, but yet you're still doing something that you want to do.
Yes, sir.
How about you, Stephen?
Same as Preston. I play pickup basketball with some friends. Some of us go play pool, maybe go swim a little bit. Most of it, we all still are around sports, so always end up playing a sports game. Now, we always say we're not going to be competitive, like do it for fun, but it usually ends up being competitive. We always start getting into it, but that's just the nature of all of us. We want to win.
Well, I'll ask you this as well. You being a senior and graduating, how did you feel? How did you answer? Because I've seen young kids come up after ball games, you know, wanting to shake your hand and this and that and the other. What would you tell a youngster that how much athletics, football in particular, has meant to you, and why it would be very, very gratifying for them to want to get into athletics?
I'd probably say that the reason I would get into athletics if I was into younger kids is it doesn't matter if you're good, if you're the best or not. It's the friendships you can make and the life lessons you'll learn in life. And it's just you get to have a brotherhood, whereas if you don't play, you can always meet friends that you love, but if you get to do something that you end up loving with somebody that loves it too, it just brings a whole other bond that you can't find anywhere else. Okay,
now Preston, I know you being a junior, and I've seen kids come up to you, and that, believe it or not, kids do look up to high school athletes, especially these young kids 8, 10 years old, 12 years old, running up to you and wanting to shake your hand and this and that and the other, and maybe do what you do one day. What would you tell them how much athletics has meant and being a part of an athletic team could mean to them?
Yeah, I would say what it's meant to my life is it just showed me like how many friendships you can make and how important they can be to your life and how they can help you through different situations. And I would recommend it, playing athletics, just because first of all, it keeps you active and just it keeps you healthy, and second of all, just the friendships you can make and the relationships you can create from just being in the program is unbelievable.
Well, I tell you what, guys, it's I've looked forward to having y'all on. We've talked about this a long time, and I'm glad we got to make it happen, and I look forward to having your sisters on down the road sometime. But the last question I'll ask is, we finish up the program this afternoon. To this point in your young life, Stephen, who's been the most inspirational person or persons?
My mom and dad, for sure. They've been the most inspiration, always pushing me to be the best I can be and always been there for me if anything goes wrong. So they're my two inspirations.
Okay, Preston.
Same thing. My mom and dad, they've been there through good times and bad. They've just helped me grow in my relationships with God, with friends, with family, with anybody. And they've just helped guide me through hard situations, good situations, whatever situation I needed help with, they'd be there to help me with.
Well, I tell you what, guys, it's been a pleasure having y'all on. Stephen, fixing to head off to college, good luck in your endeavors as you head to Birmingham Southern. Preston's still got a senior year ahead of him, and then he'll be off to college for him as well. And so good luck to you guys. Tickled to death to have you on the show, and look forward to y'all having all the success in your sporting careers that you want to have, okay?
Thank you.
And folks, once again, we've had an outstanding show. I've been very fortunate to be able to have my grandsons on with me. We look forward to coming to you 3 months down the road. We'll be back for the fall season toward the end of August. So till we see you again, you know what the snapper always says. Bye.